What if the Soviet Union never collapsed? It is the year 2026, and somewhere in Moscow, a Communist Party official is reviewing the 5-year plan for the 43rd time. The Soviet Union is still here, still enormous, still nuclear, still the other half of a planet split in two. But how? Because on August 19th, 1991, one man didn't climb a tank. Mikhail Gorbachev, General Secretary, reformer, the man who tried to save the Soviet Union by loosening it, had been pushing glasnost and perestroika for years. Openness, restructuring. It was supposed to modernize the empire. Instead, it cracked it open. 15 republics started pulling toward the door. Hardliners in the Communist Party panicked. So on August 19th, 1991, they staged a coup. Gorbachev was placed under house arrest in Crimea. Tanks rolled into Moscow. State TV cut to Swan Lake on repeat, which, in Soviet tradition, meant something very bad was happening. Then, Boris Yeltsin walked out of the Russian parliament, climbed onto a tank, and told the coup plotters, in front of the whole world, no. The coup collapsed in 3 days, but so did everything else. By December 25, 1991, Gorbachev resigned. The red flag over the Kremlin came down, and one of the largest empires in human history simply stopped. August 19th, 1991, 11:07 a.m. Yeltsin's advisors tell him the tanks are too close, it's too dangerous. This time, he listens. He stays inside. No tank, no speech. The cameras catch nothing but an empty street. The coup holds. Gorbachev is removed. The hardliners take control of Soviet television, Soviet military, Soviet borders. The reformers are arrested. Glasnost is over. The republics sprinting for independence, Ukraine, the Baltic states, Georgia, suddenly have Russian tanks in their capitals. The independence movements go underground. The West is stunned and paralyzed. NATO doesn't expand eastward. There's nowhere to expand toward. The Iron Curtain just got reinforced. In St. Petersburg, a 39-year-old KGB officer named Vladimir Putin returns to his desk. No chaos to exploit, no oligarch vacuum to fill. He remains a mid-level intelligence functionary. You've never heard of him. The hardliners who took power in 91 are not ideologues, they're pragmatists who just wanted to stop the bleeding. So they do something unexpected. They keep some of Gorbachev's economic reforms, while crushing the political ones. Think China, but Russian. A controlled opening of the economy, state capitalism with a Soviet flag. Western corporations start making cautious deals, Pepsi, Boeing, McDonald's. Not because the USSR went democratic, but because it went stable, and stable is profitable. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union is still the main backer of secular Arab governments, Syria, Iraq, Libya. The conditions that allow al-Qaeda to grow, the power vacuum, the Western military presence, the sense of abandoned peoples, those conditions are different, not gone, but different. September 11th, 2001 probably doesn't happen, at least not that way. China watches all of this very carefully. In our timeline, the Soviet collapse was China's greatest lesson. Political reform kills one-party states. But in this timeline, there's a second model of authoritarian modernization sitting right next door. The 21st century doesn't have one rising power, it has two old ones, and they are not friends. Europe integrates more slowly. Without a post-Soviet wave of democracies joining, the EU is more cautious, more insular. Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, not in the EU. Sitting in a tense buffer zone between two nuclear blocs. The map of Europe looks like 1975, with smartphones. By 2026, the world, A Soviet Union of roughly 12 republics, 250 million people, the world's second largest nuclear arsenal. An America that never had its unipolar moment and is arguably more careful because of it. A Middle East that avoided two of the biggest Western interventions but found new ones to fill the gap. A climate negotiation table where the USSR and USA can barely agree on lunch, let alone emissions targets. And somewhere in St. Petersburg, a retired KGB man named Vladimir Putin is coaching youth ice hockey. He seems content. The Soviet Union collapsed because it tried to reform and couldn't hold together. In this timeline, it held together by not reforming at all. And the world is not better, not worse, just completely unrecognizable. A planet that traded one kind of crisis for a completely different kind. And honestly, given what we got instead, it's hard to say which world won. If you made it this far, you clearly enjoy asking dangerous questions. So hit that like button, subscribe to What If History, and tell me in the comments, would you rather live in our world or that one? I'll see you in the next What If.